Hey guys, Lindsay Ford, Power Speed Endurance, registered dietitian coming at you, and we've been talking about hormones the past 2 weeks. Last week we talked about cortisol, which is that lovely stress hormone that we really want to try and regulate and control. This week we're talking about insulin. Insulin is your storage hormone. Okay, it's really, really important. It's actually vital for your health. Your pancreas secretes insulin and it helps blood sugars get into the cell. If you do not produce any insulin, that person would be a type 1 diabetic, and that's not good. Most people realize that when they're super little and all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, my child's sick. A type 2 diabetic would be in the case where they become insulin resistant. A big part of that is how we eat. Okay, so if we are becoming insulin resistant, a big piece of this is we become carbohydrate dependent, and we are always secreting insulin. It's kind of like damaging a doorbell over and over and over again, and in a sense, let's say like we take a food delivery guy and that food has to get into the house. Well, if the doorbell keeps getting rung and rung and rung, eventually that doorbell, what's it going to do? It's going to break down. And that's kind of what happens when somebody becomes insulin resistant, is there's just too much pressure on that pancreas, and in a sense, then all of a sudden that person will become insulin resistant and their blood sugars will maintain high. Well, from a fitness perspective, it's really important that we aren't always relying on carbohydrates for fuel, that we're controlling how much insulin can be regulated throughout the day. A big piece of this, sorry guys, I hate to break it to you, but snacking, we really don't need to be snacking that much. The other piece of this is making sure that we are being very intentional with our fitness, making sure we're doing the strength training, the high intensive interval training, certain things where we become more insulin sensitive, which is a huge benefit of your training. The other thing that I just want to point out is making sure we're getting enough healthy fats in our diet, because that can control how much insulin is secreted, and it doesn't have a really very big insulin effect, which is good. In a sense, we want that. When we think about how we can kind of move forward and becoming more insulin sensitive just with our overall food plan, think I need to be less carbohydrate dependent. They're very important. Carbs are important for your overall recovery, but if we can be able to tap into those fat stores for fuel, that's great. So making sure we're getting enough healthy fats, making sure we're getting enough protein, our overall nutrition is very well balanced. That's insulin for you. Next week, get ready for leptin.